We've already learned what x and y intercepts are in a previous lesson, so let's just review the key points that we need to remember that will help us in this new lesson. So if it's an x-intercept, the y value will always be 0. And then if it's an x-intercept, the x value will always equal 0. And then we're also going to learn about two different types of lines that are different than the rest. So the first is a vertical, and the vertical line is going to be x equals and then some number, and the horizontal line is going to be y equals some number. And we'll look at some examples of that in just a little bit. So first example, find the x-intercepts. We're just finding the x-intercepts. So we said that the y value will be 0. So we're going to make the y value be equal to 0. So x plus, and then instead of 4 times y, it's going to be 4 times 0 is equal to negative 2. And then 4 times 0 is 0. So this essentially just goes away. So we have just x by itself is equal to negative 2. And then the ordered pair for that is going to be negative 2, 0. And then number 2, same thing, we're finding x-intercept. So the y value is going to be 0. 9x minus, again, instead of 4 times y, is going to be 4 times 0 equals 54. So each time we are replacing the y value with 0 for the x-intercept. So the opposite letter becomes 0. And again, 4 times 0 is 0, so that just essentially goes away. So we have 9x equals 54. And then this one we have to do a little solving. So this is being multiplied by 9. We have to divide both sides by 9 to get x equals 6. And then again, the ordered pair for this one will be 6, 0. Now we're going to do the other one, the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept up above, we said that the x value equals 0. So we're going to make x equal 0. So instead of negative 4 times x, it's going to be negative 4 times 0 plus y equals negative 2. And then anything times 0 essentially just goes away. So the y is by itself equal to negative 2. And that ordered pair is going to be 0, negative 2. And then on number 4, again, we're finding the y-intercept. So we make the x 0. So instead of 3 times x, it's 3 times 0 minus 4y equals 16. And anything times 0 just kind of goes away and leaves us with negative 4y. So on this one, make sure you bring down that minus sign. It makes that negative 4 because it's attached to the 4. And then we have to do a little bit of solving. So we divide by negative 4. So our y equals negative 4. And that's the ordered pair 0, negative 4. So one easy way to remember which letter do you make 0, it's always the opposite letter. So notice when I found the x-intercepts, I had an x left over and an x left over. And when I found the y-intercepts, I had a y left and a y left. So if you're trying to find the x-intercepts, you want to keep the x and get rid of the y. You always want to get rid of the opposite letter. Okay, so same for problems 5 and 6, but this asks us to find the x and the y-intercept. So let's do the x-intercept first. And remember, that's when we're going to make y equal to 0. So then we have 4x minus 0 is equal to negative 2. The 0 just kind of goes away. So I have 4x equals negative 2. And we have to do some solving. Divide by 4. And then x equals negative 1/2. And then that's going to be the ordered pair, negative 1/2, 0. Then we're going to repeat, but for the y-intercept, remember for the y-intercept, we're going to make the x be 0. So 4 times 0 minus y equals negative 2. So the 0 kind of just makes that go away. Don't forget to bring down the minus sign with the y. And then when there's no number, remember there's that hidden 1. So it's really negative 1y is equal to negative 2. So I'm going to have some solving. Divide by the negative 1. And y is going to equal 2. And then that's the ordered pair 0, 2. So the new step on numbers 5 and 6 is now that we have those intercepts, we're actually going to plot them on the graph. So the x-intercept negative half 0 is going to be about here. And the y-intercept 0, 2 is going to be here. And then we want to make sure we draw a line going through those points with arrows on both sides to show that it's going to go on forever in both directions. And then we repeat for number 6. So we're going to find both the x and y. Let's start with the x-intercept. So we make the opposite letter 0. So 5x minus 5 times 0, replace the y with 0, is equal to negative 15. 5 times 0 is just 0, so that goes away. We have 5x equals negative 15. Divide both sides by the 5. And x equals negative 3. So then that's the ordered pair negative 3, 0. And then we repeat for the y-intercept. We make the opposite letter 0, so then x becomes 0. So this one's only going to look like this. 5 times 0 minus 5y equals negative 15. And anything times 0 is just 0, so that goes away. Remember to bring down that minus sign, makes that negative 5. So this time we're dividing by negative 5 on both sides. And then negative 15 divided by negative 5 is positive 3. So the y-intercept is 0, positive 3. And then we'll plot those. So we just found the y-intercept is at 0, 3, so we plot that point. We said that the x-intercept was going to be at negative 3, so we plot that point. And then you draw a line through the dots and arrows on both sides. This is how we graph using intercepts. So up above in our vocab, we said that the vertical line was x equals. And the horizontal line was y equals. So in number 7, we have x equals, so that tells me it's going to be vertical. And it's going to be a vertical line going through the x-axis at negative 3. So we find the x-axis is here. X is negative 3 is right here. And then we draw a vertical line through that point. So it's going to look like this. And again, making sure there's arrows on both sides. So anytime it says x, it's going to be vertical line through whatever number it tells you here. And then the horizontal line is always y equals. So since this one says y, that tells me it's going to be a horizontal line through 2. So the y-axis at 2. So here's the y-axis. 2 is right here. So we make a horizontal line going through 2. Again, make sure there's arrows on both sides. Okay, and now our word problems. So it says graph each equation. We're going to graph by finding the intercepts, just like we did for the rest of the problems. And then interpret the intercepts. So we're going to explain what those mean. So we're selling t-shirts for $20 and sweatshirts for $40 each. Today you made a total of $240. This could be modeled by the equation 20x plus 40y equals 240. So the first thing I would do is, it's talking about sweatshirts and t-shirts up above, but in here it just has an x and a y. So we have to figure out what does x mean and what does y mean. Well, it says the t-shirts sell for 20. So then where I see 20, this must mean t-shirts, and that has the x variable. So then t-shirts must be x. And then sweatshirts, it says, are 40, so here's where it says 40, and that's with the y. So then sweatshirts must be the y value. Okay, so we're going to need that when we start explaining what the intercepts mean. First, let's find the intercepts then. So let's find the x-intercept first. Remember, that's when we make the y equal 0, so opposite letter becomes 0. 20x plus 40 times 0 And then we solve. 40 times 0 just goes away because that's 0. Divide both sides by 20. And x equals 12. So my x-intercept is 12, 0. And then we'll repeat for the y-intercept. Remember, that's when we make x equals 0. So 20 times 0 plus 40y equals 240. Anything times 0, which is 0, so it goes away. Divide both sides by 40. And y equals 6. So the y-intercept is going to be 0, 6. Let's first graph this, and then we'll interpret and explain what those intercepts mean. So on the x-axis, my x-intercept is 12. So I'm going to count by 2 just to make sure I have enough room. So there's 12. So my x-intercept is going to be here at 12. My y, I only need to go up to 6, so I can count by 1s. And that's going to be here, so I put my dot there. And then remember, you're going to connect those dots. We won't put arrows on this one, because if I put arrows, it's going to go into the negatives. And negatives don't make sense in this real world problem. We're not going to sell a negative number of t-shirts or sweatshirts. Okay, so there's our graph using intercepts. And now we're going to explain what those intercepts mean. So let's start by doing the x-intercept. So 12, 0 was our x-intercept. X is the 12, y is a 0. And remember up here that x means t-shirts and y means sweatshirts. So the 12 is t-shirts. So we sell 12 t-shirts when we sell 0 sweatshirts. Because remember, we have to make that $240. So I can make that $240 by selling all t-shirts. It would take 12 of them and no sweatshirts. That's what that intercept represents. Then we're going to explain the other one. So x and y. So this time, if I sell 0 t-shirts, I need to sell 6 sweatshirts to make that money. So make sure when you're explaining, I have the order pair 12, 0. Make sure you have the 12 and the 0 in your explanation. The y-intercept is 0, 6. Make sure you have the 0 and the 6 in your explanation. And we're going to do one more example like this. You want to buy cupcakes for your birthday. The vanilla cupcakes come in trays of 4 each, and the chocolate come in trays of 6 each. You need to have enough cupcakes for 36 people. This can be modeled by the equation 4x plus 6y equals 36. So again, let's figure out what x and y means. So the 4 is with the x. And 4 was talking about the vanilla. So the vanilla must be x. And the 6 is with the y, and the 6 talked about the chocolate. So the chocolate must be y. And again, we'll need that when we get to our explanations. So first, let's calculate our intercepts, because we need to do that in order to graph it. Let's go ahead and find the y-intercept first. That's when we make the x 0. So 4 times 0, everything else stays the same. 4 times 0 is 0, so that goes away. And then we solve. So divide by 6, divide by 6. So the y-intercept is 6, and that's the point 0, 6. And then we find the x-intercept. Again, that's when y equals 0. 4x plus 6 times 0 equals 36. 6 times 0 is 0, so that goes away. And then we solve, divide by 4. x equals 9, so then that's 9, 0. And then let's go ahead and plot this first. So my x-intercept is 9. So that's going to be here. My y-intercept is 6. And that's going to be here. And then we're going to draw our line connecting our points. There's our graph. And this graph is what's showing us all the different possibilities. So all these different points are different possible combinations of vanilla and chocolate cupcake trays I could buy. The only ones we care about right now are the endpoints, this one and the other intercept. So let's explain what those mean. So for the y-intercept, let's remember that, so this is x, y, we said x was the vanilla. So if I buy 0 vanilla, I need to buy 6 chocolate to have enough. Because remember, we have to have 36 cupcakes to feed all 36 people. And then with the x-intercept, so this is x, this is y. So again, x is the vanilla. So I need 9 vanilla trays if I buy 0 chocolate to have enough. And again, for the y-intercept, make sure you have both the 0 and the 6. I have a 0 and I have a 6. For the x-intercept, I need a 9 and a 0 in my explanation. And there's my 9, and there's my 0. So make sure you include both x and y from the intercepts in your explanation.